The Calgary Police Service Homicide Unit is seeking assistance from the public to identify a person who may have information about a death of a man discovered near a northeast parking lot in 2014. At approximately 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 29th, 2014, a passerby discovered the body of a man who appeared to be frozen in a parking lot in the 5900 block of Madigan Drive Northeast. Initial indicators were unclear as to whether or not the man's death was a homicide. Months later, investigators received a report that led them to believe the man's death was suspicious. Numerous investigative leads were followed up in the years to come, and detectives have never stopped searching for answers. New information has come to light about the case, and investigators are now able to confirm they believe the death was in fact a homicide. The deceased can now be identified as Douglas Miller, 41, of Calgary. The cause of death will not be released at this time. It is believed Miller died sometime during the night on Friday, November 28, 2014. We have released a CCTV photo of a person who we believe may have information about the death of Mr. Miller. Anyone with information about this case or the identity of the person in the photo is asked to contact the homicide tip line at 403-428-8877 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. I'll take you some questions now.
When you say a report, just for clarification, the coroner's report?
Yeah, the autopsy report. So in Alberta, we have the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Other province of coroners, but we have the OCME.
So in terms of, and just for further clarification, the body, I know it was found near a parking lot. Was it in the grass, an alley, and behind, or can you elaborate on where it was found?
Yeah, it was near a parking lot. Obviously, the deceased had been there approximately 16 hours. We have information that the victim left his residence in that area at approximately 8 p.m. the night prior, but his body was not discovered until 1:30 the following day.
So he is a Marlborough Park resident?
In that area, absolutely. And he was actually reported missing by a family member about 2 p.m. on the 29th, about half an hour after we actually discovered him. So we were able to match up the two reports.
In terms of leads, has there been a lot of movement or fluidity in this case? Have there been a lot of leads coming forward, or is this pretty much been investigative stuff you found out, say, from the coroner, for example? Obviously,
the autopsy report played a big part in our investigation. We do know that the CCTV footage that we have released now in the media is of relevance to this file, and it's very important that we identify he or she within that photo. And if the person who is actually captured in that photo, if they recognize themselves, we please want them to contact the police so we can talk to them.
Just to be clear, this isn't a suspect. You're not calling, and you guys, as far as I know, haven't used the word person of interest. This is just someone who has information.
Yeah, based on where the CCTV was captured, it was captured from a private residence in the area where the victim's body was found. That still photo is captured at approximately 9 p.m. On the 28th, and of course, our victim was last seen alive at 8 p.m. that evening.
I say this not knowing exactly what the scene looks like in my head, or if the person was found near the road or whatever, but is it surprising that Mr. Miller was there for 16 hours and no one knew?
It would be surprising on a summer day, but in this particular day, with the wind chill, it was about minus 30 with blowing snow, and when the victim was actually discovered, he was half buried in snow. He was covered in snow. So to answer your question, on that night, no, it's not particularly surprising that he wasn't found till later.
Would the location, could you be a bit more specific, 5900 block, was it a parking lot? There's one around?
Yeah, that's my understanding. It was a field near a parking lot. I can get clarification on that.
Parking lot associated with Marlborough Park.
Okay. Yeah, so further clarification, where he was found was near the Marlborough Park Community Center.
Yeah. And in terms of Mr. Miller himself, was he known to police?
He was not known to the Calgary Police Service. And he had been a Calgary resident for a few years prior to his death. He's originally from the province of Ontario.
Have you been in touch with the Miller family? Or their reaction to, I guess, this change in the case?
Absolutely. One of our primary jobs in a homicide is obviously to be that liaison, to be that direct contact with the family. And we have been in contact with Mr. Miller's family throughout the investigation. And obviously they're looking for closure and resolution to this, as we are. And we certainly want anyone who has information to contact police via our tip line or through the Crime Stoppers.
Are there any suspects or persons of interest?
Not at this point, no.
Was he known to Ontario police?
Not as far as I know.
What was the case classified as before? So we didn't call it a homicide before. What was it? Was it an open case or was it not suspicious? Or tell me about and then how it changed.
Well, initially it came in as an undetermined death, and eventually, obviously, it was classified as a homicide. So whether it's undetermined or a homicide, obviously, we want to maintain that file as active until we get resolution or closure for that file.
I'm sure I know the answer to this, but just for the record, and people that might be watching, why not disclose the cause of death?
Obviously, to protect the active investigation and the integrity of the investigation. When we actually do locate a suspect or a person of interest, we want to make sure that the statement that they're giving to us is obviously extremely truthful, and the answers that they're giving to us haven't been tainted or influenced by anything that we have put out in the media.
This might be a question for you or Lindsay, but what do you know at the homicide? This brings the homicide count to 2014 now, too?
I don't have that readily in front of me, but I'm certainly Lindsay can research that for you.
Perfect.
How satisfying is it to, I guess not satisfying is the wrong word, but professionally it must be satisfying to be able to say that they sort of put the lid on this case after so long and being able to work hard in a case that many would consider cold and forgotten about.
Well, I think we're very fortunate in Calgary to have the resources that we do to look at these cases. And no matter if this happened 20 years ago or 5 years ago, if it's active, we want to pursue all investigative leads to bring closure to the family, and that's who we're working for.
Does he have any family in the city, or they're all Ontario-based, I assume?
No, there's family in the city that we've been in contact with.